If you are tired of the same old open-world RPGs, stop scrolling. We found a shooter that plays itself, a farming sim that feels like a history lesson, and a horror masterpiece that will mess with your head. I'm Leo, and these are the hidden gems of January you missed. Dungeon Antiqua 2. For players who missed the cartridge era of gaming, Dungeon Antiqua 2 delivers pure SNES-style dungeon crawling, wrapped in authentic pixel art and retro sound design. The gameplay revolves around navigating 6 dungeons using a unique vision-based system where corridor and enemy visibility depends on your character's sight stat, forcing strategic positioning during symbol encounters that can be avoided entirely or exploited for first-strike advantages. What elevates this beyond simple nostalgia is the flexible job system featuring 10 classes including new monk and archer options, where levels persist across job changes, allowing players to freely experiment and combine skills from multiple professions to build an ultimate party. Combat uses turn-based mechanics reminiscent of Final Fantasy V, blended with Wizardry-style dungeon design, requiring careful planning rather than mindless grinding. The community response is passionate, with fans praising how the game scratches the class-based leveling itch while remaining lean and focused, earning comparisons to genre classics like Parasite Eve and Diablo 1 in terms of elegant design. The main consideration is that the simple presentation might not immediately reveal the strategic depth underneath, requiring players to invest time before the systems fully click. Perfect for retro RPG enthusiasts who value tight mechanical design and flexible character building over modern production values. Drawing from the Touhou Project universe, this fan-made dungeon crawler challenges players to form 12 character parties, 4 frontline, 8 rear, chosen from a pool of over 40 girls, then conquer extensive dungeons across an estimated 30 to 50-hour campaign. The gameplay loop emphasizes strategic grinding, where players manipulate spawn rates to hunt rare enemies for massive experience, giant enemies for exponential rewards, and special enemies for unique drops, creating satisfying farming loops that reward optimization. Boss encounters are the true highlight, featuring pattern-based mechanics with percentage-scheduled attacks, time-stop abilities, and uncapped buff stacking that demand careful counter-building and ascertaining weaknesses rather than brute force leveling. While the JRPG foundation is traditional, the extreme build variety through multiple respectable growth systems and the emphasis on puzzle-like boss solutions justify its party-based RPG classification. Players celebrate the tremendous visual improvements over the prequel, challenging but fair difficulty that rewards attention, and perfect English translation by a dedicated solo translator. Criticisms center on certain unexplained gameplay decisions that can frustrate even series veterans, and the punishing lunatic difficulty that may gatekeep casual players, despite recommendations to start on hard mode. Best suited for hardcore JRPG fans who treat boss fights as tactical puzzles and enjoy grinding as a core mechanic rather than a chore. Put down your controller for this one, because Geometry Arena 2 lets you literally automate the entire experience if grinding feels like work instead of fun. This top-down arena shooter distills roguelike progression into a tight loop where players mix and match over 10 weapons and bodies with 90-plus modules plus random pets to create game-breaking builds that obliterate surging enemy waves. While it appears to be a standard bullet hell shooter, the hardcore RPG stat system, 200-plus upgrade evolution paths, and meta-progression balancing power with fun earn it a valid spot among character-driven RPGs. The core innovation is player choice in engagement level. The Geo Assistant can handle movement and shooting while you focus on build crafting, or you can take full manual control for intense arcade action, or any combination in between. Players praise this flexibility as revolutionary, noting how the game respects different playstyles and stress relief preferences while maintaining depth for those who want dozens of hours of min-maxing. However, some veterans of the original feel the sequel doesn't match the first game's quality, though specifics on what changed remain vague in community feedback. The minimalist visual style uses vibrant colors and geometric shapes that clearly communicate information without overwhelming the screen. Perfect for roguelike fans who want total control over their engagement level, whether that means brain-dead stress relief or complex build optimization. While technically a Metroidvania platformer, the deep stat progression, weapon customization through memory cards, and character growth mechanics firmly root Kotama and Academy Citadel in RPG territory. Playing as a mysterious exchange student competing for the prestigious Carmel Star, players explore a sprawling Academy Citadel filled with impossible machines mind-bending illusions, and self-contained biomes. The core loop revolves around fluid, high-speed combat, where seamless weapon switching and parrying builds up status on enemies before unleashing devastating burst attacks that regenerate shields. Between boss fights, players unlock new abilities that open shortcuts and hidden areas across previous zones. Following the classic Metroidvania formula, the community consensus is overwhelmingly positive, with players praising the smooth platforming, satisfying parry mechanics, and unique health regeneration system that rewards aggressive play. However, some note the progression feels slow initially, and others point to occasional jank, including weird hitboxes and drop-dash inputs that can disrupt otherwise tight combat. Perfect for players who enjoy accessible Metroidvanias with anime aesthetics and combat depth that rewards mastery over memorization. If Stardew Valley married Chinese historical drama, Halcyon Days at Taoyuan would be their charming pixel art child. Set in a traditional village, players build a self-sufficient life through 9 distinct occupations, including farming, animal husbandry, forestry, fishing, tailoring, cooking, construction, mining, and even martial arts. The gameplay loop balances farm management with deep social simulation, where every villager carries a genuine backstory, flaws, and virtues that evolve based on how players treat them. While it looks like a standard farming sim, the CRPG elements shine through relationship systems that let players genuinely alter character destinies, plus a unique bartering economy that replaces traditional currency. Players celebrate traditional Chinese festivals, including Spring Festival and Mid-Autumn, complete with authentic wedding ceremonies that immerse them in cultural flavor rarely seen in the genre. Critics highlight the balanced pacing that avoids excessive grinding, the charming community reminiscent of Suikoden 2, and remarkably responsive developers who've patched numerous quality-of-life improvements since launch. The main caveat is that the game requires patience during the early learning curve before its systems click into place. Best suited for cozy game enthusiasts who value cultural authenticity and relationship depth alongside their crop rotations. If maintaining a weak body was Pathologic 2's challenge, then Pathologic 3 tests whether you can maintain a weak mind under psychological pressure that will leave your head spinning. Playing as Daniel Denkowski, a prodigious physician whose research into death brings him to a remote steppe town, players face a 12-day time limit to save the population from a mysterious plague after failing to prevent the outbreak in the first place. The gameplay blends survival horror with immersive sim mechanics, where medical observation becomes your primary tool, examining patients face-to-face, separating lies from truth, identifying real symptoms, and working step-by-step toward a life-saving vaccine. Beyond diagnosis, players wield administrative power to impose quarantines, confiscate medicine, deploy patrols, declare curfews, and suppress riots, shaping the town's fate, even if citizens grow to hate you for authoritarian decisions made in desperation. The remake reimagines the original with ambitious scope that critics call one of the most successful adventure games ever made, praising how the psychological tension keeps players in the protagonist's deteriorating headspace. However, the launch state is controversial. Numerous bugs, constant patches, and unfinished polish led many to question the full-price release, with some players forced to submit entire save files and formal essays just to report undocumented issues. Best suited for narrative-driven horror fans who value psychological depth and moral complexity over mechanical refinement, and who can tolerate rough technical edges in exchange for one of gaming's most unique experiences. And that wraps up Part 2 and our full coverage of January's RPGs. Between the massive blockbusters in our last video and these hidden gems, 2026 has definitely started strong. Now I'm curious, did any of today's unique picks surprise you? Are you brave enough for the stress of Pathologic 3? Or are you just going to relax with Halcyon Days? Let me know in the comments. If you missed the heavy hitters like Trails or Dune Crawl, make sure to check out Part 1 right here. We are already tracking the data for February's release, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the next batch. I'm Leah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.